My son locked me in the basement and moved his wife into my bedroom, so I sold the whole damn house. They thought I was too old to fight back, so I smiled, waited, and sold the house right out from under them. Hey y'all, my name's Dolores May Henderson. I'm 66 years old, born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama. Life's taught me two things. Keep your record straight and never let anybody walk over you, even if they came out of your womb. I thought I raised a decent man, but let me tell you something, you don't really know your child until you own a house they want. If this story resonated with your soul, hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments which country you're watching from. I want to feel y'all with me today. I woke to the sound of laughter drifting down from my own dining room, a sound that should have warmed my heart, but instead set my teeth on edge. It was Tina's laugh, sharp and showy, like she was performing for an audience. Marcus's low chuckle followed, and I could picture him leaning back in my oak chair, the one his daddy carved before he passed. My house, my memories, and yet here I was, feeling like a guest in my own home. At 66, I'd earned every creak in these floorboards, every nick in the walls, but Marcus and Tina, they were moving in like they'd already claimed the deed. I pulled my robe tight and shuffled to the staircase, my knees protesting with each step. The clock on the wall read 2:17 a.m., too late for decent folks to be carrying on. The whispers I'd been hearing at night had started a week ago, soft as a breeze, but sharp enough to keep me awake. At first, I thought it was the house settling, but now I wasn't so sure. Last night, I'd heard Tina's voice, low and urgent, saying something about needing to move fast. Move what? I didn't know, but it prickled my skin like a warning. Upstairs, the dining room light spilled into the hall. I paused at the doorway, catching Tina's reflection in the glass cabinet. She was holding court, waving her hands like she owned the place, her gold bracelets jangling. Marcus sat across from her, nodding along, his eyes fixed on her like she was the only thing in the world. Two of their friends, folks I'd never met, lounged at my table, sipping from my crystal glasses. "This place is perfect for us," Tina was saying, her voice dripping with honey. "Once we get it fixed up, it'll be a whole new vibe. Modern, you know?" One of the friends, a wiry man with a goatee, laughed. "Y'all gonna flip this old place? It's got good bones." Old place? My house wasn't some fixer-upper they'd snatched off a foreclosure list. I cleared my throat, loud enough to make them jump. Tina's head whipped around, her smile faltering for a split second before she plastered it back on. "Dolores, didn't see you there, Mama," she said, her tone too sweet, like syrup gone bad. "You want some wine? We're just catching up." I fixed my eyes on her, letting the silence stretch. "It's 2 in the morning, Tina. Folks don't catch up at this hour unless they're plotting something." Marcus laughed, but it was nervous, his fingers tapping the table. "Mama, don't start. We're just having fun. You should be sleeping." "Sleeping?" I raised an eyebrow. Hard to sleep when my house is turning into a nightclub. The wiry friend snickered, but Tina shot him a look that shut him up. She stood, smoothing her skirt, and walked over to me, her heels clicking on my hardwood. "We're not trying to disrespect you, Dolores. This is your house. We're just making it our own for now." "Your own?" I repeated, my voice low. "Last I checked, my name's on the deed, not yours." Tina's smile tightened, but she didn't back down. "Of course, Mama. We're just grateful you're letting us stay." Grateful. The word hung in the air like a lie. I glanced at Marcus, waiting for him to say something, to remind his wife who'd raised him, who'd scrubbed floors to pay off this house. But he just looked away, his jaw tight. I turned and headed back to my room, the whispers from the night before echoing in my head. Something was off, and it wasn't just Tina's attitude. As I passed the guest room, their room, I noticed the door was cracked open. A sliver of light spilled out, and I caught a glimpse of papers scattered on the bed. One looked like an envelope, thick and official, with red ink stamped across it. I wanted to push the door open, to see what they were hiding, but footsteps behind me made me freeze. "Mama, you okay?" Marcus's voice was soft, but there was an edge to it. I turned, forcing a smile. "Just fine, baby. Just fine." The next morning, I was up before the sun, brewing coffee in my kitchen. The house was quiet, but the air felt heavy, like it was holding its breath. Tina's touch was everywhere now. Her gaudy throw pillows on my couch, her lavender candles replacing my vanilla ones. Even my spice rack, the one I'd organized for decades, had been rearranged. I found my cayenne pepper shoved to the back, replaced by some fancy turmeric blend. It wasn't just a house they were changing. It was me they were trying to erase. I was sipping my coffee when Marcus came down, his hair still mussed from sleep. He looked like the boy I'd raised, same broad shoulders, same dimple in his left cheek. But there was a distance in his eyes I didn't recognize. "Mornin', Mama," he said, grabbing a mug. "You sleep okay?" "Not really," I said, watching him pour. "Hard to rest when I feel like a stranger in my own home." He sighed, setting the pot down. "Mama, we're not trying to make you feel like that. Tina's she's got big ideas. You know, she wants to make things nice." "Nice?" I snorted. "She's got my curtains in the trash, and her friends drinking out of my wedding crystal. That ain't nice, Marcus. That's claiming what ain't hers." He rubbed his neck, looking at the floor. "It's temporary. We're saving up, trying to get our own place. You know how it is." "Do I?" I leaned forward, my voice low. "'Cause I'm starting to wonder what y'all are really up to. Whispers in the middle of the night, papers hidden in your room. What's going on, Marcus?" His eyes flicked up, sharp and guarded. "What are you talking about?" "I hear things," I said, "and I see things. Like that envelope on your bed last night. What's in it?" He froze, just for a second. But it was enough to tell me I'd hit a nerve. "You're snooping now?" he asked, his voice tight. "That's just Bill's mama. Nothing for you to worry about." "Bills don't come in envelopes stamped like that," I said, holding his gaze. "You forget who raised you. I know when you're lying." He opened his mouth, then closed it, his shoulders slumping. "We're just trying to get ahead, okay? Tina's got a plan. It's not about you." "Not about me," I laughed, sharp and bitter. "This is my house, Marcus. Everything in it is about me." Before he could answer, Tina swept into the kitchen, her perfume announcing her before she said a word. "Morning, y'all," she chirped, grabbing an apple from my fruit bowl. "Dolores, you're up early. You should rest more, you know. Stress isn't good at your age." I bristled, but I kept my voice steady. "I'm plenty rested, Tina. And I'm not stressed, just curious about what's going on under my roof." She paused mid-bite, her eyes narrowing just enough for me to notice. "Nothing's going on, Mama. We're just living, same as you." "Living," I repeated, letting the word hang. "Funny how your living looks a lot like taking over." Marcus cleared his throat, stepping between us. "Let's not do this. We're family, okay? We're just figuring things out." But I wasn't looking at him. I was watching Tina, the way her lips twitched, like she was holding back a smirk. She thought she had me fooled, but I'd been around too long for that. I'd raised a son, buried a husband, and paid off a mortgage with nothing but grit and faith. If they thought I was some frail old woman they could push around, they were about to learn different. That afternoon, I was in the laundry room when I heard the front door open, and Tina's voice, low and clipped, talking to someone on the phone. "Yeah, it's all set," she said. "We just need her out of the way for a bit. It'll be easier than we thought." My heart thudded, but I kept folding towels, my hands steady. Out of the way? What were they planning? I thought of that envelope again, the red ink flashing in my mind. I needed to get my hands on it, to figure out what they were hiding before they made their next move. As I stacked the towels, I made a decision. I wasn't going anywhere, not without a fight. This house was mine, every brick, every memory, and I'd be damned if I let them take it from me. But I'd play along for now, keep my eyes open, and my smile sweet. They didn't know it yet, but Dolores May Henderson was nobody's fool. Have y'all ever felt like a stranger in your own home? Drop a yes in the comments if you've ever had to bite your tongue to keep the peace. The air in the laundry room felt thick as I folded the last towel. Tina's whispered phone call still ringing in my ears. We just need her out of the way. Out of the way? My house, my life, and they were plotting like I was some obstacle to be cleared. I set the towels down, my hands steady, but my mind racing. That envelope I'd glimpsed last night, the one with the red stamp, was calling my name. I needed to know what Marcus and Tina were hiding, and I needed to know now. But I'd play their game for a bit, keep my smile tight and my eyes sharp. They thought they had me pegged as a tired old woman. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. I spent the next few days watching them closer than ever. Tina was bold now, rearranging my living room like it was her personal showroom, while Marcus avoided my gaze, mumbling about work whenever I asked what was going on. The whispers at night didn't stop, low, urgent murmurs from their room, always cut off when my floorboards creaked. I was itching to get into that guest room, to tear through their things and find that envelope. But Tina was always around, flitting through the house like she was marking her territory. It was a Tuesday afternoon when I decided to head to the basement. I told myself I was just going for the old photo albums, the ones with pictures of Marcus as a boy, back when he still looked at me like I was his whole world. But deep down, I knew I was looking for something else. A moment alone, a chance to think without Tina's perfume choking the air. The basement stairs groaned under my weight, and the cool, musty air hit me as I flicked on the light. The bulb buzzed, casting a dim glow over boxes of memories, my late husband's tools, Marcus's old baseball trophies, my mama's quilts. I was reaching for an album when I heard the basement door slam shut. The sound echoed like a gunshot. I froze, my heart kicking up. "Marcus," I called, climbing the stairs. I pushed at the door. It didn't budge. I rattled the handle, my voice sharper now. "Marcus, Tina, open this door." A pause, then Marcus's voice, muffled and strained. "It's just temporary, Mama. You need to rest." "Rest?" I banged on the door, my fist stinging. "Boy, you open this door right now. This ain't a game." No answer. Just the soft shuffle of footsteps fading away. I stood there, my breath coming fast, the reality sinking in. They'd locked me in my own basement, my own son. I slid down to the steps, my knees weak, but my mind was clear as glass. This wasn't a mistake. This was a move. And I wasn't about to let it break me. For 3 days, I was trapped down there. The basement was cold, the air damp, and the only light came from that flickering bulb. They brought me food once, a paper plate with a dry sandwich and a glass of water, slid through a crack in the door like I was a prisoner. Tina's voice was all fake concern. "You okay down there, Dolores? We're just looking out for you." I didn't answer. I just stared at the door, my jaw tight, saving my strength. I wasn't going to beg. Instead, I searched the basement, digging through boxes, looking for anything useful. On the third day, tucked inside an old sewing kit, I found it. A burner phone, one of those cheap flip phones my husband used to keep for emergencies. The battery was low, but it had a signal. I dialed the only number I knew by heart. Miss Roberta, my neighbor from across the street, who'd known me since I was a girl. "Roberta," I whispered when she picked up. "It's Dolores. I need help. They've locked me in the basement." Her gasp crackled through the line. "Dolores May, what in God's name? I'm coming right now." On day 4, Roberta came through. She crept around the back of the house at dawn, when Marcus and Tina were still asleep. I heard her tapping at the basement window, her voice low. "Dolores, you there? I got a screwdriver." I pushed a box under the window and climbed up, my hands shaking as I helped her pry it open. The window was narrow, but I was determined, squeezing through with Roberta's hands pulling me. When I finally stood in my backyard, the morning air hitting my face, I felt like I'd been reborn. But I didn't cry, didn't collapse. I hugged Roberta, whispered my thanks, and told her to go home. I wasn't running. I was going back inside. I slipped into the house, through the back door, quiet as a shadow. The place was still, Marcus and Tina's snores drifting from upstairs. I didn't confront them, not yet. I needed answers first, and I knew where to look. Their room, that envelope. Whatever they were hiding, it was time to find it. I moved fast, my bare feet silent on the hard wood. The guest room door was ajar, and I slipped inside, my heart pounding but my hands steady. The bed was unmade, clothes strewn across the floor. I went straight for the nightstand, where I'd seen that envelope days ago. The drawer was locked, but I'd raised a son who wasn't half as clever as he thought. A hairpin from Tina's vanity popped the lock in seconds. Inside, I found it, a thick envelope, the red stamp reading "Urgent" in bold letters. But it wasn't the only thing. There were papers, a whole stack of them. And as I spread them out on the bed, my breath caught. Divorce papers, dated 2 years ago, from Tina's previous husband. The name on them was Tina Samuelson, not Tina Henderson. She'd been married before Marcus, and she'd never said a word. I flipped through the pages, my fingers trembling. Not from fear, but from fury. There was more. A bank statement, also in Tina's name, showing a balance that made my eyes widen. $50,000, and the source, a property line sale, dated last month, from my land, my house. Marcus had sold a chunk of my property behind my back, funneled the money to Tina. I sat back, the papers crinkling in my hands. My son, my own flesh and blood, had betrayed me. And Tina, she wasn't just a gold digger, she was a thief, playing a long game. I thought of the whispers, the locked basement door, the way Marcus wouldn't meet my eyes. They weren't just taking over my house, they were stealing it. Piece by piece, I heard a creak in the hallway and froze. The papers went back into the drawer, the lock clicked shut, and I was out of the room before anyone could catch me. My heart was racing, but my mind was clear. They thought they could lock me away, erase me from my own life. But I was Dolores May Henderson, and I wasn't done yet. Downstairs, I poured myself a coffee, my hands steady now. Tina came down first, her hair perfect, her smile fake as ever. "Morning, Dolores," she said, like nothing had happened. "You're up early again." I sipped my coffee, meeting her eyes. "Always am, Tina. Got a lot to keep an eye on." She hesitated, just for a second, then laughed it off. "You're too much, Mama." Marcus came down next, his face tired but guarded. "Mama," he said, nodding. "You okay?" I smiled, slow and deliberate. "Never better, baby." They didn't know I'd been in the basement, didn't know I'd seen their secrets. I let them think they were still in control, let them chatter about their plans for the day. But inside, I was plotting. The house was still mine, and I had connections, lawyers, friends, people who'd known me longer than Tina had been alive. I'd play their game for now, keep my cards close. But when the time came, I'd make sure they learned. You don't cross Dolores May Henderson and walk away clean. As they left for the day, Tina's arm looped through Marcus's. I stood at the window, watching them go. The papers were burned into my mind. Divorce papers, bank statements, betrayal. I didn't know how deep this went, but I was going to find out. And when I did, I'd sell this house right out from under them, just like I'd promised myself. Let them try to build their future on ashes. I'd be waiting. I stood at the kitchen window, the coffee in my hands gone cold, watching Marcus and Tina drive off like they hadn't just tried to erase me from my own life. The papers I'd found in their room, divorce papers from Tina's past, a bank statement showing my property's sale, burned in my mind. $50,000, siphoned from my land, my legacy, and Marcus had let it happen. My own son. The betrayal cut deep, but I wasn't the type to crumble. I'd built this house with sweat and sacrifice, and I'd be damned if I let them take it. I had a plan forming, one that would turn their game upside down. They thought they'd locked me away, but I was free now, and I was ready to fight. The next morning, I called my old friend Clarence, a lawyer who'd known me since we were kids, running through Birmingham's backyards. His voice crackled through the phone, warm but sharp. "Dolores May, what's got you calling me at this hour?" "I need you to check something," I said, keeping my voice low. "The deed to my house, Marcus and Tina, are up to something, and I need to know where I stand." Clarence didn't ask questions. He knew me too well. By noon, he called back. Your name's still on the deed, Dolores. Whatever they're pulling, they haven't touched the legal title. You're still the owner. I exhaled, relief mixing with resolve. Good. Can you make sure it stays that way and start the process to transfer anything they might have tampered with back to me, quietly? Done, he said. But you sound like you're planning a war. What's going on? Let's just say my son and his wife forgot who they're dealing with, I replied. I'll fill you in later. That afternoon, I was back in their room, careful as a cat. I wasn't done digging. Under a pile of Tina's scarves, I found a small photo album, the kind you don't leave out for company. My hand shook as I flipped it open. There she was, Tina, smiling at a hotel bar with a man who wasn't Marcus. The timestamp on the photo was 6 months ago, right around when she and Marcus got married. And there was something else, a doctor's note tucked in the back, confirming a pregnancy 3 months along. The math didn't add up. Marcus had been working overtime then, barely home. That baby wasn't his. I sat back, the album heavy in my lap. Tina wasn't just stealing my house. She was building a whole life on lies, dragging my son into her mess. I could have stormed downstairs, shoved the truth in their faces, but that wasn't my way, not yet. I needed to be smart, to play their game better than they did. So I slipped the album back, my mind already 3 steps ahead. Now tell me something. If you caught your child's spouse cheating and stealing from you, would you forgive or flip the script? Comment below. I need to know who's listening to me with a sharp heart today. For the next week, I played the part they wanted me to play. Fragile, forgetful. I shuffled around the house, muttering about misplacing my glasses, letting Tina pat my arm like I was some senile old lady. You okay, Mama? She'd ask, her voice dripping with fake concern. I'd nod, smile, and say, just tired, baby girl. Marcus was harder to fool. He knew me too well. But even he seemed to relax, like he thought the basement stunt had broken me. I didn't let on that I'd escaped on my own, with Roberta's help. When they asked about the basement window, I shrugged and said, must have been a draft. Tina's eyes narrowed, but she didn't push. They thought they had me under control, and I let them believe it. Every night I listened to their whispers through the walls, catching fragments, something about finalizing and moving soon. My blood boiled, but I kept my face soft, my voice weak. One morning, I sat them down at the kitchen table, my hands folded like I was about to pray. Marcus, Tina, I said, my voice trembling just enough. I've been thinking, maybe I need a break. I'm gonna visit Aunt Linda for a week, clear my head. Marcus's face lit up, too quick. That's a good idea, Mama. You deserve some rest. Tina nodded, her smile tight. We'll hold down the fort, Dolores. Don't you worry. I smiled back, sweet as pie. I know you will. That afternoon, I packed a small bag, kissed them both on the cheek, and walked out the front door. But I didn't go to Aunt Linda's. I drove straight to Clarence's office, where he had the paperwork ready. You sure about this, Dolores? He asked, sliding the documents across his desk. Once you list the house, there's no going back. I'm sure, I said, signing my name with a steady hand. They want my house? They can buy it from someone else. Clarence shook his head, a grin tugging at his lips. You're a force, Dolores May. I checked into a hotel across town, a quiet place where no one would look for me. My phone was my lifeline now, linked to the security cameras I'd had installed years ago. After a break-in scare, Marcus and Tina didn't know about them. Most folks didn't. From my hotel room, I watched the feed, my heart pounding as I saw Tina in my bedroom, trying on my jewelry like it was hers. Marcus was downstairs, on the phone, his voice too low to catch. They were moving fast, thinking I was gone, thinking they'd won. I leaned back, the phone screen glowing in the dark. They had no idea what was coming. The house was already listed, the sale set to close in days. I'd picked a buyer, a young couple with no connection to Marcus or Tina, ready to pay cash. Every memory in that house, every moment I'd fought for, was mine to protect. And I was protecting it by letting it go. As I watched Tina laugh in my mirror, wearing my mama's pearls, I felt a calm settle over me. They thought they'd played me, locked me away, stolen my home. But I was Dolores May Henderson, and I didn't just play the game. I changed the board. Let them whisper their plans, dream their lies. By the time they realized what I'd done, I'd be gone. And so would the house they thought they'd claimed. I sat in that hotel room, the glow of my phone screen casting shadows on the walls, watching Tina parade around my bedroom like she'd already claimed it. She twirled in front of my mirror, my mama's pearls dangling from her neck, while Marcus paced downstairs, his phone pressed to his ear. The security feed caught every move, every lie they thought they'd hidden. My house was listed, the sale already in motion, and they had no idea. I'd signed the papers with Clarence, locking the deed back in my name and setting the deal with a buyer. A young couple, with cash, and no ties to Marcus or Tina. The clock was ticking, and I was ready to flip their world upside down. Within days, the house sold to a real estate developer who didn't blink at my asking price. Clarence worked fast, making sure every detail was airtight. I stayed in the hotel, my bags packed, watching the camera feed as Marcus and Tina went about their days, oblivious. They were still whispering at night, still planning their takeover, thinking I was off at Aunt Linda's, too old and frail to fight back. But I was Dolores May Henderson, and I'd built that house with my own grit. They'd learn soon enough what it meant to cross me. On move-out day, I was already gone, checked out of the hotel and driving toward the coast. Clarence had coordinated everything, new locks on the doors, their belongings hauled to the curb in neat piles. I could imagine the scene. Marcus's old baseball bat, Tina's gaudy pillows, their clothes stuffed in garbage bags, sitting under the Alabama sun. I was miles away when my phone rang, Marcus's name flashing on the screen. I let it ring twice, savoring the moment, before I answered. "Mama, what the hell is going on?" His voice was raw, panicked. "Our stuff's on the curb. The locks are changed. What did you do?" I leaned back in my car seat, the ocean breeze slipping through the cracked window. "Oh baby, I sold my house. Didn't I tell you? You better ask that little wife of yours for a place to sleep tonight." There was a long silence, then a sputter. "Sold it. Mama, you can't." "This is our home. Your home," I laughed, sharp and cold. "Boy, you forgot whose name is on the deed." "I know everything, Marcus. The property line you sold behind my back. Tina's secret bank account, her ex-husband. That baby she's carrying that ain't yours." He went quiet. The kind of quiet that tells you someone's world just cracked open. I could hear Tina in the background, yelling something, her voice shrill. "What are you talking about?" Marcus finally said, his voice shaking. "Ask her," I said. "Ask about the hotel photo, time-stamped 6 months ago. Ask about the $50,000 she's got stashed. Then come back and tell me about our home." I hung up before he could respond, my heart pounding but steady. Tina tried calling next, her number lighting up my phone like a warning. I didn't answer. Instead, I mailed a folder to her job's HR department, copies of the divorce papers, the bank statement, the hotel photo, everything I'd found, neatly packaged with a note. "Thought you should know who you're employing. Let her try to threaten me legally. She'd be too busy scrambling to save her reputation." By the time I reached my new home, a small sunny place near the Gulf Coast, the dust had settled, the sale money had come through, more than enough to buy this cottage with its wraparound porch and a view of the waves. I stood on that porch the first evening, a glass of sweet tea in my hand, the salt air cool against my skin. The house was mine, paid in full, no ghosts of Marcus or Tina lingering in the walls. I'd left their betrayal behind, turned it into a foundation for something new. Marcus tried reaching out a few times, leaving voicemails that started with, "Mama, please," and ended with excuses I didn't care to hear. I blocked his number, my fingers steady as I did it. He was my son, and I'd always love him. But love doesn't mean letting someone walk over you. He'd made his choice, and I'd made mine. Tina, from what I heard, had vanished. Roberta called one day, her voice buzzing with gossip. Word is, her ex-husband found out about the baby, showed up at her job, caused a scene. She's gone, Dolores. Nobody knows where. I nodded, sipping my tea. Good riddance. That night, I sat on my porch, the stars bright above the water. The weight of the past few months, the whispers, the basement, the betrayal, felt lighter now, like a storm that had passed. They thought they'd buried me in that basement, locked me away to steal what was mine. But I'd turned it into a foundation for my next blessing. This house, this peace, was my victory. I raised my glass to the sky, a quiet toast to myself. Dolores May Henderson didn't just survive, she thrived. And nobody, not even my own blood, could take that from me. Now let me ask y'all. If someone disrespects you in your own home, do you cut ties or give second chances? Let me hear your heart in the comments. And if you're still here, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and don't let nobody lock your spirit down. I said what I said.